Welcome back to another episode of Let Us Be Sustainable. I'm Frank, and I'm going to discuss how I treat my dahlia flowers right before I start to collect seeds. It's been raining this season a lot, so rotting has been a big issue, along with other pests that I've been dealing with. But they're starting to form seed heads, and I saw a post in one of the Facebook dahlia groups, and they were asking what should the seed pod look like in order to collect seeds. So what I do in order to increase my chances of getting viable seeds is I remove the petals from the larger double blooming ball type, decorative types, cactus, water lilies, anything that has a lot of petals, I remove it. Because with the rain, if the petals stay on, they will rot the seed head. Now the singles dahlias, which was the original type of dahlia, would have normally and naturally dropped the petals, and the seed pod would start facing downward like a teardrop, and that would allow rainwater and moisture to find its way out of the seed pod, drying the head. Well, what we have done is we've had bred dahlias to face upwards, and that's what most flower farmers and flower breeders do, breed for upward facing flower heads because they look good in bouquets. Now that's not good for the seed pod because they hold on to the petals, and as the rain comes down, it sinks into the seed pod and it starts to rot away from the core, from literally from the core. I mean, it will rot straight down to the stem, and the seed head will just fall off. So I'm going to show you an example of that. That's going to be right back. Okay, here we are in the dahlia patch in the back, and what I've been doing to help me save some seeds is pulling out the petals from the seed pods so that they can dry out a little better. See, this is a good example of what I'm talking about. See, here it's closing up, and I make sure that there's no fluid in there, and it's drying, and it's trying to face down. But the thing about these dahlias, since they face up, or they're bred to face up, they tend to keep their buds pointed to the sky, and when it rains, it gets in there and they rot. Now, if you leave the petals on them, they start to do, let me find a good example of what I'm talking about. If you leave the petals on them, they start to look like that. And once they get to that stage, you may not be able to salvage any seeds because it has either rotted away. See, it completely rotted away. It just fell right out. It rotted away. All right. You won't be able to save any seeds because the seeds are also rotted. So that's what I've been doing. Now I'm going to show you the dahlia patch in the front, and what you do is just do this. You just pull out all the petals. You know what, I'm doing this one-handed, and it's kind of difficult to do with one hand. Okay, let me put the camera down, and I'll clean it up, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, here it is now after I cleaned it up from the petals. It's relatively clean. Now, if you look, see if I can, I want to see if I can blow it up a little more. You know, if you look closely, let me see if I can, I don't know if the camera will focus. Do you see the seeds? Can you see the seeds? Let's see if you can see them. See, there they go. They're the seeds. Now they're not mature yet, so they're nice and plump. Now the one in front of it has been cleaned up and it's a little drier. Now I don't know if you can see the seeds there. They're a little smaller and dark. They're getting darker. See how they're getting darker? They're thinner. Those are the seeds. So by pulling them out and cleaning them up helps you salvage the seed pod and it doesn't rot, because you don't want the rot. If they rot, you're not going to get any seeds. You're defeating the purpose. And the reason being, since they're multi-petaled, they tend to hold on to the petals a lot longer. And I'm going to show you in the front what I mean. I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm in my singles, my open centered singles patch. This is in the front garden, and here we have Chelsea Christie. Okay, now these singles drop their petals very easily by themselves. They don't need my help, and the seed pods face downwards, so when it rains this way and the fluid falls out. Look at this, was a good example. It falls out, so these won't rot, whereas the dahlias in the back are all varieties that have upward facing flowers. And what happens if you don't remove these petals, this is what you're going to wind up with. These are all rotted seed heads. They're all rotted. So it doesn't help you if you leave these petals on, or you don't help depetal the pods. I mean, most people that are growing them for a flower production don't care about the pod, and they want upward facing dahlias for their bouquets. That works. But for the breeder, upward facing flowers are detrimental to the seed head because they will rot if they're not covered, or if you don't move the petals. It's a waste of time. Here's another one. This is a seedling that's just trying to open up. It's open centered. But again, this one has multi-petals and it tends to keep them. See what I mean? It did a better job because it did drop some of them, but it did keep some of them. But it is facing downwards, which it does help it. Not that I'm saving seeds from this, because this is one of my seedlings that I grew this year, so we're not keeping seeds from this. It's only here to grow for the season. Now, here's one that I am keeping seeds from because it's next to apple blossom, and this one's Caitlin's Joy. Now, Caitlin's Joy, all her pods are facing downwards. She's going to bloom soon. See how they face downward? So they don't rot. This is mine, my seedling. It opens up to a nice creamy, buttery, like a buttercream color, and then it turns this pinkish color during the colder season, or part of the season I should say. So that's the difference between the singles and the multi-petaled dahlias. Multi-petaled dahlias tend to hold on to their petals a little longer, and they have a tendency to rot. When they are singles like this, they easily drop their petals. They just fall right off. When it's been pollinated and it's starting to form seeds, these petals just fall right out. It doesn't need help from anybody. and they form these beautiful seed heads. So when I tell you that I pull off the petals from these dahlias in the back, it's because I'm trying to save the seed pod. I'm helping them out. They're holding onto the petals way longer than necessary. They should have dropped their petals, but because we have bred them with multi petals, and they're so tightly close together that they don't fall out, and then when the rain comes they rot. So you're better off just pulling off all of these. Don't know if I can do this with one hand now. Do the best I can here, and I am gonna get some. Well, that's fine. Okay, you get the idea. And let me see if this one was forming seeds. Yep. Look at the seeds there. Let's see if I can. There they go. So this is way too immature to put in a vase inside to let it dry. These seeds would have never matured in time. So this was a prime example of what the seeds look like inside and what it would take for you to salvage them, to have them mature indoors when this stem was a little bit more mature on the mother plant. You try to keep them on for at least 4 weeks before you cut them, and about a week to 2 weeks indoors in water until they start to dry. Once they dry, they're gonna start opening up, and then you just remove the seeds, label them with the mother plant, and you know what crosses you made, and that's basically it. It's not difficult. This is what's worked for me. I don't know if anybody else does this, but this is what's given me the best success in collecting seeds. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay, so I went over the examples of what I'm talking about as far as salvaging the seeds and removing the petals. Now, ideally, you want to keep those stems on the mother plant for anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, ideally. But for like myself, my frost date starts October 22nd all the way through November 7th. So I would have to bring my stems in if I wanted to have viable seeds. Now, we are in the third week of September. So I still have a few more weeks. I got another, so I'm pretty good as far as timing. So anything that I can leave there all the way till October 22nd, I think I'm okay. If I find myself in temperatures that are going to go below freezing, and the stems have been there 3, 4, 5 weeks, I will cut them and bring them indoors and allow them to mature for another 2 weeks indoors. They will dry, they're going to open up, and then I'll harvest the seeds. I'll put a picture of what the drying looks like, and that's when you start removing the seeds, when they're that brown, open consistency. Sometimes they don't open up. Sometimes they just turn brown and they're sealed like a teardrop, but they're dry. And you open it up and you remove your seeds. Because ideally you want to leave them on the mother head for as long as possible to get mature, viable seeds. Not all the seeds in the pot are going to be mature. It all depends on when they were pollinated. But yeah, if you have 15, 20, 35 seeds in a seed pod that are viable, hey, that's a score. Ball types are harder to get. I'll be lucky if I get five decent mature seeds from ball dahlia. Even more so from a pom pom. If I get three seeds from a pom pom, I'm happy. I am truly happy. It's harder to get them from the ball and pom pom types. Cactus types will give you good seeds. Water lilies will give you good seeds. But for the most part, the decorative types will give you good seeds. It also depends on the seed parent. Not all dahlias are good seed parents, and not all dahlias are good pollinating parents. So you gotta find out which ones work for you, and then once you've established that, you start your line. That's exactly what I'm going to do. There's also pollinating bags that you can put over your seed pod to protect it from the rain. I'm going to put a link to that on this video so you can go find. I'm not an affiliate. I'm just putting it down so that if you need that as an extra preventative for the rot, I'm going to order them myself too, just to try them out to see if they help. I mean, at this point, I will try anything to give me more success saving seeds, because as a breeder, you want as many seeds possible so that you have the better outcome for an award-winning dahlia. So I'm gonna post that link for you guys. We're in this together. Like I said, true transparency. As I learn something, I will post it and what works for me. It may not work for you, but this is what works for me in Zone 7, and I'm in New York. Actually in the suburbs of New York, on Staten Island. So if this was helpful for you, let me know. Comment, subscribe, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, so that the algorithm starts helping me out a bit more. Because I'm kind of enjoying doing these videos for you guys, but I want to know that you guys enjoy it. And then if my content is something that's helping you, I want to know too. So I'll catch you on the next one. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys.